a beautiful entry to add to. It didn't go there. It just stopped short right there. So there's a little space between this candlestick's wick and the low of that orange box, which is my first presented fair value gap. It's going to act as an inversion fair value gap if it can go there. But did it get there? No. So what did I teach you about real order flow? I'm not talking about yesterday's numbers, okay? I don't care about yesterday's weather. Are you going to dress appropriately based on yesterday's weather? Are you going to dress based on yesterday's weather? Because that's what order flow is doing. That's what it's doing. Okay? That's what volume profile does. That's what everything else does. I'm teaching you to be the weatherman that forecasts the weather in the future. Okay? That's what you're doing. You're a prognosticator. You're a fortune teller. You're reading the future. Okay? You're reading the tea leaves, if you will. There's a difference there, okay? I don't need to look at old stale data just because a number exists inside of a candlestick that this is how many orders were entered at that range, high or low, or wherever it was in that candlestick. There's absolutely no inherent advantage over what I'm doing versus that. So I'm not intrigued by that. I know all about all that stuff. I have looked at everything, folks. I've been around for a long time. The things that I'm teaching you are so far light years ahead of all that stuff. You just don't appreciate it yet because you're just now getting your hands into it. I've been here for 33 years with it. And I'm not seeing anything coming close to this stuff. So yes, I understand for someone that's new and you hear me talk like this, is like this guy's very arrogant, he's very narcissistic. No, I'm just very confident. I'm very set in my ways. And there ain't nobody coming out here teaching me doing anything better than this. I don't know if you've seen anybody else do what you saw me do today, but hey, I kind of gave you the logic last night, and here's the business. So we ripped through first presented fair value gap. There was no even considering coming back to it here. So that's indicative of what? Heaviness. That means it's really, really bearish. So the note was, I want to see speed under this low, just like I had it here. Well, here's the low. It rips through it. Can't even come back to touch that low. Where's support and resistance at? I'm supposed to be a support and resistance trader, right? It's so fun. I love it. But anyway, it doesn't even get there. So that also is what? An old low that can't even be retested. And then it starts to sell off again. Where's it going to go? Half gap. But now it gets down here and it's been a straight run from my entry candle. I'm sorry.
Critics and audiences are cheering for Avatar Fire and Ash, and they can't wait to see it again.
There you go. Let me put that back up here. There's my entry right there. Look at the top of the range right in here. Look real close, guys. You see that? That's probably lucky. And right there at the consequent encroachment level. So again, I know what I'm looking for. I don't need to know yesterday's numbers. I don't need to know the number of contracts that were bought and sold at a specific price inside of a candlestick. Okay, that is not secret science. It's not the sauce. It's not the secret to figuring out the marketplace. It's not going to be any more precise. In fact, it'll never catch up to mine. This still isn't even my best stuff. This isn't my best stuff. Okay, I'm telling you. Wait until you see how we close this year out. You're gonna be like, what in the world? Yeah, that's how it's gonna be, just like that. But I wanted to kind of like shock you a little bit, the ones that were in my comment section. It's about a half a dozen of you. And just let you know, I love all of my viewers. I love all of you. And I want you to have a gap of opening range. Break lower, trades all the way down into the lower quadrant of the daily, this green sheeted area here, that suspension block. That's what that is here. That's the lowest quadrant, and that's the low. That's the halfway point, upper quadrant, and the high in the box. Okay. So what are we creating here? What's this? Relative equal high, right? Relative equal low. I did that during the presentation last night too. And I left it in. I wanted to edit it out, and I didn't get a chance to do it. And I was perturbed by it. I didn't like it. So we have a low with a higher low to the right of it. So that's a high probability candidate for a sweep on liquidity. And the market does trade down through it and goes right to, look at this. This is probably worthy of the X Files. Okay. If you know what that show is, just think of the little theme song. Do 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 do. Look at this. I mean, look seriously. Look at this. There is a myth. There's an urban legend out there. Some crackpot, some goober, some guy from Maryland. He's out here talking about how there's an algorithm controlling price, and it uses these things on the wicks. Okay, these levels on the wicks that nobody's ever talked about before, but now all of a sudden the market seems to be working off of them. No, they've always been doing this. As soon as they went electronic, this is what they do. Okay, so look at the bodies right there. You see that? The bodies are stopping just north of that level. This one sweeps through it just by a little bit, and this one has just a little bit of a hair of a tick below it. But the bodies are not touching that. So, what do you think happens when the market trades above this last down close candle? What do you think is going to happen? It's going to become an order block. Market rallies up, comes right back down into mean threshold. That's weird. And then the market rallies up, fair value gap, trades into it here, smart money reversal, low risk buy, consolidation, reaccumulation, second stage reaccumulation, and that's the nicest run off of it, clears that high. And there you go. So it's a market maker buy model right there off of a quadrant level on a wick on the daily chart after trading lower on the day and using the concepts of real order flow that'll show you in these open, high, low, and closed candlesticks. I saw a guy on my feed say, I'm going to predict, and apparently he predicted it over summer, that half of ICT students or people that trade with my stuff are going to abandon just looking at candlesticks and they're going to look at order flow by me. Okay.
I want to be rich. Wishing for more money? All you need is your phone. No, no. Go.
But I know the tribe mentality, the team mentality, the NFL mentality. Okay. My team's against your team. They wear a jersey and they think they're on the team. They think they're on the roster. That's not how this is, okay? I'm just me, okay? I'm not asking for you to join behind me, okay? I'm just gonna have fun. It's like fantasy football this year for me, okay? It's me against everybody else. That's the competition. Who's gonna prove by the end of the year their stuff is the stuff, okay? That's what we're doing, okay? That's what we're doing. And what I'm looking at is what level of precision? What are you using that gives you precision? Are you buying and selling and then having wild, swings go past where your entry was and then showing on the internet, this is what I made on this trade, but you didn't really have a good execution? I'm not impressed by that. Okay, that's usually an indicative of someone that has no idea what they're doing. They're probably trading demo, and they would never do that if they had real size behind the setups, and they just wouldn't do it. They wouldn't be able to stomach that type of drawdown. How often are they trading? Are they sticking to the rules of what it is they trade with, or are they always reinventing something different? Are they twisting it and contorting it to, well, this is what it you know this is what it looks like for me today, but that's not the model you're supposed to be following. So, as you can see, I have very specific criteria. The criteria I show in my executions are based on the things that I teach, and I want to encourage all of you because I get questions all the time. Okay, and I'm going to say this and then I'm going to close it because I went a little bit further than I wanted to. I know there's a lot of you out there, and some of my students actually use order flow, they use heat map, book map, they use all these other things because it helps them with a visual crutch. And I don't use that term to be, you know, condescending. If I would have had book map, if I would have had something to the effect of what it does when I was coming up as a trader in 1992, if I would have had something like that, I would have used it. I'm not going to sit here and pretend I wouldn't have done it because I was trying to use everything. But if it helps you understand where pools of liquidity are that are salient to the current market structure, then don't let anything that I'm having fun just, it's like, it's shop talk. Okay. Everybody does it to me, and you think my feelings are getting hurt. It isn't. I don't feel that way. I think it's fun. I just don't like when people get personal. Okay, and they talk about family members or whatnot. That's just, it's low class. But anybody out here that's a trader and you're on social media, you're fair game. Like, you're fair game. And if you can't take a shot, okay, then don't go on social media. But because I don't mind it and it's actually fun, I actually stir the pot to get more of it because I just like it. And it's just something I like. You guys like to look at your television screens on the weekend and scream at these players like they hear you. Oh, you didn't do this, you didn't do that. Okay, this is my fantasy football. This is what I do. I don't like sports, so this is my whole life. So if I can manipulate and contort the views of people that I know don't like me and make them bark at me, then I own them. It's an entertainment. It's like a toy for me. Because if they really didn't care like they say they don't, they wouldn't bother with me, right? Or if they were really making money, they wouldn't even work. They wouldn't even be watching me, right? They wouldn't be caring about what I'm doing. So I have fun with it while I teach all of you. So it's kind of like a balancing act for me. It's boring for me just to teach. I have to have some kind of a fun playground environment, and that's what I do. So I leave it up to you. If you're really diligent about trying to learn how to do this and the things that I'm teaching, you will see value in it or you won't. And if you can't see value in the levels of precision, for instance, we have this range that's shaded in green. Okay. That's that daily suspension block. If you grade it, here's the upper quadrant, the midpoint, consequent encroachment, and here's the lower quadrant and the low of it. This is that one daily wick I told you that we were going to grade the lower quadrant level. That's that turning point right there. Okay. Having these levels on your chart with annotations in a workspace. So you're going to toggle through. If you're just looking at one chart all day long and you have no reference points as I'm teaching with my PD arrays and how to use a higher time frame chart down to lower time frame, you're going to have moves that happen that's going to it's going to surprise you. It's going to be like, where'd that come from? Why did it do that? I'm never surprised unless they come in there with a geopolitical type thing. That's when I'm like, wow, that's something I didn't see coming. Otherwise, I know what I'm looking for. I know what I'm personally looking for. And that takes a lot of time and experience to get to that place in trading. And it took me about 10 years to get that. So some of you are probably way smarter than I am. And because I'm teaching you my concepts and because you're smarter than me, if you listen to me when I'm talking about the psychological aspects of what you do and what you should not be doing, you have the advantages of growing faster than I did and not put yourself through all the pain and misery that I did. So I'm giving you the best of the best. It doesn't feel like it when I'm entertaining myself with trolls and whatnot. You think that's me defending myself because my feelings are hurt. That's me entertaining myself because these people are not bothering me, but I'm bothering them. And I love that because I've had some of my best students, they were trolls. And they watched me go back and forth with them, sporting with them, sparring with them. And then they couldn't prove what I was teaching didn't work or worked, in another different way. It was exactly as I said it. And then they submitted to it quietly and they started making money with it. And now they're some of my better supporters. And not that I'm looking for people to support me and go out there and cheerlead me. It's not what it is. But I love converting people that are hard and stiff necked people. I like that because if I can convert you when you were so fixated about this isn't how the markets operate, and it's this, and it's this indicator, it's order flow, it's volume profile, it's footprints, it's whatever it is. There's always somebody coming to me with some kind of gimmick that it's supposedly I'm copied off of whatever that is, or their stuff is better than what I'm using, and I should use this in concert with or replace everything. And there's nothing better than what I'm doing. Like, there's nothing better. Who out there, seriously, who out there can tell you these turning points and why it's there and it keeps happening all the time outside of my stuff? Because this isn't anywhere else. Find it somewhere else. It's in everybody else's mouth right now because they see me doing things that are completely alien to the history of what was considered precision trading, precision executions. We're, we're talking about over 200 handles today just of a complete washout on a market that I guarantee the majority of you that were watching it this morning when it was going up, the last thing you were thinking of is we're going to trade down to that level right there. And I'm trying to challenge you to think about how that's how these things work. That's exactly what it does. It goes to these predetermined levels. You're going to tell me, okay? This is the last sentence, I promise. You're going to tell me, you're going to stand in the court of public opinion and challenge me, okay? Tell me that your buying and selling pressure turned that puppy right there on a dime, right at that level that I teach. Really? Wow. That is amazing. That's astonishing when you really consider that. So either I've influenced everybody around the world and every short seller had no longer an interest in going short below that. And I instituted and instigated rather everybody's buying interest at that level right there. Because this level isn't taught by anybody else. It's not in any other school of thought. Nobody has these quadrants on a wick. They don't have it. But they're all bringing it to shop now, aren't they? Because it works, because it's how the market works. And that's why they're never, ever, ever, ever going to change it. Why? Because it's not limited just to the quadrants. You can break it down into eighths, and then you get really stupid with the precision. Enjoy your weekend. Until talk to you next time. Be safe.